Let me start by saying I have made it to this event. And the entire TiDB team has made it to this event. But that's not really important. What is really important is that you all in this venue today have made it to this event. And I would really like you all to once again give a huge round of applause to all of you for making yourself available out of your busy schedules. All right. So let's start with, of course, TiDB's user day. That's the reason we are here. This is our TiDB's first, and I would like to repeat, first Users Day in India. Once again, I would like to repeat, in India. And the reason I say this is because we have been successfully executing TiDB Users Day in the other part of the globe, but this is the first time we're doing this in India. And what an overwhelming response we've received from all of you. First of all, we are overwhelmed, we are gracious, and we are so much thankful to all our valued customers who have adopted TiDB as of today, specifically in India, and of course across the globe. We want to thank our amazing partners who have been working with this and helping us reach out to more and more audience, to the community, to the new customers across India. And finally, we would like to thank the Indian tech community, the community which is building up very rapidly. We have a community globally, but we've seen a rapid growth of India TiDB's tech community. And for all of those who are not part of our Slack channel yet, please go and join the channel. So let's quickly talk about what are we going to expect today. Later for the lunch, you're going to have a food buffet, but think about the entire day today as a tech buffet, where we're going to present you insights, cutting-edge insights about TiDB. We're going to talk about some real-world case studies directly from our customers. And maybe these are some of the problems which you are experiencing as of today, and you may have that solution. By the way, raise of hands who has seen this building on the right-hand side. Awesome. These are the Petrona Towers in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. And just for the matter of fact, this particular tower is built with 36,000 tons of steel. These are just facts. So let me take you through a video. Let's say there is an application of somebody starts an e-commerce business and starts with a MySQL database. But as and when the data volume continues to grow and there's more and more traffic coming in, the only option there is to scale up the database. But there are physical hardware limitations. At some point, it would break. And what do you do then? This is precisely where the scalability issues start coming in and give birth to scalability. What are some of the options you have? Probably the first option, which you may have executed today, is have a separate write and separate reads, and then continue to sync data between your writes and reads. This is precisely where consistency issues come, because you have to ensure you have consistency for your applications. When we talk about another workaround, or probably a patchwork, you probably would be doing sharding if your data volume is increasing. And when you do sharding, you're probably splitting your workload into different smaller cases and writing that sharding logic into your application itself. Now, this is what gives rise to higher complexity. Imagine if you do a wrong sharding logic, you get into so much mess. And for all those who have done sharding would know this. And it doesn't end there. The number of shards you have, you would need equal number of backup databases for the same. And imagine if you have 1,000 such shards and your shards start going down, you have to move to backup nodes. There is operational complexity which continues to increase. And there's another scenario. If you have an application which wants to run 1 million queries a second, it would probably point to a MySQL database. But if the same application wants to run analytical queries, it has to point to a separate analytical database like Snowflake. And you have to continue doing an ETL process from MySQL to analytical database. These are real facts. These are scenarios which are existent in many organizations. Now imagine if I tell you if there is a distributed database which can solve all these problems by having a separate compute layer which gives you MySQL protocol, which gives you a transactional layer in between, which gives you analytical layer in the same cluster, where you can store your columnar data and vector data, all in just one single cluster. That is what is TiDB. And that is precisely what we're going to talk about more in detail. We have some amazing sessions lined up. The session right after me from Udi is going to talk about more about TiDB. And then there's more tech deep dive from Sunny Bains, which is going to be happening after the lunch. So don't miss those sessions. Now, TiDB, when we started off, by the way, we are open source. And open source is core to our heart. And we would continue to stay open source. That's precisely the only reason that we've donated some of our key components. We wanted to start on-prem because we wanted access of TiDB to as many users as possible. And we continue to do so. We came up with our TiDB cloud offering, which is more of a database as a service. Think about it as your private database butler, where all you need to do is repoint your applications to the database, forget about managing infrastructure and database complexities, leave that to us. You just focus on your applications. And then we came up with TiDB serverless. For those use cases which either have a dynamic workloads, which cannot predict what kind of workloads are they going to expect, where they need scale outs and scale ins instantly without any downtimes, and these scale outs happen automatically, are some of the typical use cases for TiDB serverless. So if you see, the innovation is already happening at this level. But we are not stopping there yet. We want to continue with this innovation. There's going to be a more deep dive into how we support AI in the following up sessions. But imagine this. Imagine if you ask a question to a database that, hey, TiDB, fetch me top-selling Tesla models in 2024. Of course, provided that you have that data available in your database. But when you fire that query, in fact, not a query, but just write a statement, imagine if a database can translate that automatically for you into a SQL query and execute it for you. That is something which we are already doing as of today. But as I told you, innovation is at the core. We are not thinking as of today, but we are thinking as of 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line. Imagine there would be a next-gen architecture about TiDB. For all those who are already aware of the TiDB architecture, who have some experience in TiDB, imagine a next-generation architecture of TiDB which works just like a serverless architecture, which can scale automatically and which can be within your premise where you have 100% control of your data. And the logo you see on the right, I'm sure most of you would have seen this logo. This is Amazon S3's logo, which probably would become a new disk for TiDB in future. And this is just the start, and this is just a reference. It doesn't mean that S3 would only be the disk, but it depends on what cloud provider we're going to talk about. That's the future we are looking at. That's the future where we are saying that you have a TiDB cluster, you have your hot stores on TiDB, and you probably also have another storage at the S3 level where you probably can store your cold data. That's innovation, and that's forward thinking. Now let me talk a little bit about TiDB as a business in India. We have seen some amazing growth and responses from our community on TiDB, which was probably not the case 2 years down the line. About 2 to 3 years ago, when we started investing into TiDB, TiDB's name was not as popular as it is today. So we, of course, have strategic investment plans in India with one single and precise goal, that we want to be one of the preferred database for the Indian business ecosystem. And to make that happen, we're going to expand in our TiDB team. We're going to invest into more brand awareness, only because we want to host and we want to support more and more of such increasing workloads, which we foresee are going to continue increasing. And of course, TiDB is global. We've been talking about TiDB India, which is our new focus. This focus has been there, in fact, but there's going to be more focus from this year. But TiDB is global. So I wanted to show you some names, which are probably just taken as a matter of some interesting facts about TiDB. On the complete left-hand side, LinkedIn wanted to do an evaluation on their next-gen modern database architecture. They did a comparison between CitusDB, CockroachDB, YugaByteDB, Vitess, OceanBase, and TiDB. And their key requirement was to have consistency and resiliency. Those were the key requirements. And there were some other, like scalability, analytics, and so on. But the key was consistency and resiliency. And based on that, they finally narrowed down to TiDB and are now in the process of onboarding their applications on TiDB. So as I said, very soon, every time you use LinkedIn, don't forget TiDB. In the middle, you must have heard about Atlassian, one of the biggest SaaS companies out there in the globe. We had this interview round with the person in the middle, Sergey, and on the complete right-hand side, we have our co-founder and CEO, Max. And the discussion was about how TiDB has helped Atlassian in what use cases. I will just highlight one thing. Atlassian came to us and asked, can you support 1 million metadata objects on one single database? Which I would say is probably unheard of in most of the databases. And we delivered them their requirement. And their demands, of course, continues to increase, and we continue to scale with them. On the right, extreme right, a very, very, very dear customer to us. In fact, it must be a very dear customer to all of you, for all of you who do shopping on Flipkart, where they did an evaluation last year for one of their applications, and they wanted to test up to 1 million reads a second with a latency of about 5 to 10 milliseconds. On the left-hand side, you go for a holiday. TiDB is empowering many applications of Airbnb today, and we're continuing to growing our presence within. And the last one, can anyone tell me what is that logo, extreme right? Pinterest. Awesome. Pinterest was heavy on HBase. And just because they had to manage their applications, they had to manage this entire Hadoop ecosystem. And they finally made a decision to move to TiDB. But what is more interesting about this use case is they are our first customer who have gone beyond 1 petabyte of data in one single cluster. Can I have a raise of hands if you've heard about an OLTP database storing 1 petabyte of data in one single cluster? Unheard of. And that's the scale we are looking at. When we talk about scalability, scalability is not just about having increased data volumes, but it's about a lot more metrics. And we're going to cover more in, I think, Udi's slide. So if anyone has any questions on these use cases, please feel free to reach out to us. We'll be happy to give you more information. All right, now let's take a sidetrack and let's talk about our tech community. We believe in building our tech community, and we are very, very serious about it. And we just don't say that, okay, just come and join us Slack and that's it. That's not what we are doing. We are doing a lot of activities to continue to build our tech community across India. We have our Pink Cap University. For all of you guys who want to come and learn TiDB, who want to learn how distributed databases are different than the traditional databases, we offer you courses, we offer you certifications. We run hackathons every year. And for 2025, we will be coming out with a new hackathon for this year very soon. So stay tuned. We invite our community members to be our speakers in some of our events, in some meetups, in webinars, so that we promote them, but at the same time, we also take insights from them, from the community. We come out with these very quarterly challenges to keep our community engaged and also keep them updated with what is happening new in the field of TiDB. And of course, we reward them. So before I end, I wanted to talk about the 6 Peaks Challenge 2025. So if anyone wants to participate in this challenge, you can scan the QR code. And what basically this is doing is we have our key 6 tools of TiDB which help you to ingest data, to offload data, to backup data, to restore data, to set up TiDB, and so on. And every month we'll be coming out with 10 minutes of a short video. And based on that, there will be challenges and competition which will be created. Before I end my talk, I wanted to thank all of you once again. And I hope that you have a wonderful day ahead. But before I go, I also wanted to shout out to our TiDB team, the organizers of TiDB team, and the organizer team who's been involved, who has done this fabulous job of bringing up this event and organizing it in such an amazing way. Can I have a huge round of applause for our TiDB team for managing this? With that, thank you everybody. Have a good networking sessions. Talk to each other as much as you can. As I said, who knows, you may have a problem and you may get a solution in today's event. Thank you.